Before BABYMONSTER dropped a single beat, before the group even had a music video to their name, one thing was already crystal clear. YG Entertainment had chosen its star and her name was Ahyeon. The world was still guessing at the final lineup, but YG had already rolled out the red carpet for this 15-year-old powerhouse. On January 16, 2023, the agency released a slick, high-gloss performance video officially naming Ahyeon as the second member of the group. But this was no ordinary teaser. Ahyeon stormed onto the scene with a fierce cover of Sawiti's Sway With Me, and in an instant everyone else faded into the background. Her vocals were lethal, her dance moves even sharper. It was as if YG had just unveiled their secret weapon, giving the world a tantalizing peek, and fans were instantly hooked. The resemblance was undeniable. She reminded so many people of BLACKPINK's Jennie that she was quickly dubbed her miniature twin. The little Jennie label spread like wildfire, with articles hyping her as the second coming of YG's favorite it girl. Even YG's own press department fanned the flames, singing praises of her explosive singing and rapping as if they were announcing a royal birth. And Ahyeon, far from shying away, embraced the comparison, stating outright that being called Little Jennie was an honor. While most trainees were still fighting for a single line in the background, Ahyeon was already in the front seat, basking in legacy-level praise. But YG wasn't done showering her with the spotlight. In May 2023, the company dropped the pre-debut track Dream, featuring all 7 members, and it immediately made Billboard headlines, soaring straight to the top of the Hot Trending Songs chart. One minute she was a rookie trainee, the next she was charting before even technically debuting, a rare feat. As if to cement her status, Ahyeon led the group's early content on YG's reality show Last Evaluation. She dominated vocal performances, stole the spotlight in dance routines, and even received direct feedback from BLACKPINK's Jennie herself, who personally watched one of her performances and offered notes. By then, the message was clear. Ahyeon was being positioned not just as a member but as the group's ace, the very blueprint for BABYMONSTER's success. So, by the time the group's debut date, November 27, 2023, rolled around, fans were counting down the days as if it were a national holiday. YG made it official. The group would debut with Ruka, Farita, Asa, Haram, Rora, Chiquita, and of course Ahyeon. The lineup was locked, the promotional photos were circulating, and music video shoots were underway. But then came the twist no one saw coming. Just 12 days before their highly anticipated debut, YG dropped a bombshell. On November 15, they released a statement announcing that BABYMONSTER would now debut as a 6-member group. The internet went into a complete meltdown. Ahyeon had vanished from the debut plans. YG cited health reasons, explaining she would be focusing on rest. The wording was vague, but the message was deafening. She wasn't debuting with the others. The girl who had been hyped for nearly a year as the group's undisputed frontrunner was suddenly off the grid. Fans were left reeling. Was she okay? Was this temporary? Was she ever coming back? YG attempted to quell the chaos with a formal apology for not being able to introduce Ahyeon as a member of BABYMONSTER, promising to spare no support for her recovery, but the drama had already erupted. While the other 6 girls prepared for their stage debut with Batter Up, Ahyeon became the main character of an entirely different story. She was absent from the teaser images, the dance practices, and the music video, yet she remained the most talked about member. Even YG's press releases highlighted her absence, with one article mourning her as if she were missing from a family photo, reminding everyone that she was the one once called Little Jennie. The drama was thick and the internet was devouring it. And just when everyone thought the BABYMONSTER saga had reached its peak, YG delivered a plot twist worthy of a blockbuster. The girl who had vanished just before her debut was back. On January 25, 2024, YG casually dropped a surprise announcement. This wasn't some intern reading a press release. It was Young Hyun-suk himself on camera at midnight telling the world that Ahyeon had returned, her health had improved, he explained, and she was officially rejoining BABYMONSTER. But that wasn't all. YG didn't want her return to feel like she was just tagging along. They wanted a complete do-over. They literally re-recorded Batter Up and stuck in the middle to include her vocals. The message was clear. If Ahyeon was in, it was version 2.0 and it was better. They rebranded the group back into the 7-member powerhouse they had originally promised. The pre-release track Stuck in the Middle dropped on February 1st, and their first mini-album, BABYMON 7 Year, was scheduled for April, with Ahyeon not just back in the lineup but squarely in the spotlight. In interviews, she leaned into the Jennie comparisons once more. "Jennie's been my idol," she said. "I'll try to live up to the title." When April 1st finally arrived and she made her official debut with the full group, the media went wild. Reports declared that BABYMONSTER didn't feel like a complete group until Ahyeon rejoined. One article essentially admitted the 6-member debut had fallen flat, but the moment she stepped into the center position, everything changed. The public took notice and the group trended nationwide. She went from missing member to main event. The press fixated on her professional charisma, her insane vocal range that spanned from soaring high notes to sharp rap lines, and the way she moved as if she were born on stage. In a sea of fresh-faced rookies, Ahyeon stood out like the seasoned queen she was being molded into. and YG handed her more than just a microphone, they gave her responsibility. While Baby Monster doesn't have an official leader, it's an open secret that YG has its unofficial captains. Ruka may run dance rehearsals, but when it comes to vocals, it's Ahyeon and Rami's turf. Post-comeback interviews revealed that Ahyeon was leading practices, fine-tuning harmonies, and co-coaching the vocal line, a significant role for someone who had just returned from a health break. It was YG's way of saying she's the one. Ahyeon's presence exploded not just behind the scenes, but visually as well. She was front and center in every comeback teaser and occupied the dead center in concept photos. Every frame, formation, and brand shoot seemed designed to draw the eye to her. Even Vanilla Komi, the cosmetics brand that signed Baby Monster as ambassadors, seemed to play favorites. Guess whose face dominated their campaigns? Guess whose lipstick shade sold out first? It was all Ahyeon. This kind of focused attention sparked intense reactions. Fans started analyzing the numbers, and the line distributions in songs like Stuck in the Middle didn't sit right with everyone. While Rami received around 29 seconds and Chiquita about 22, Rora was given a mere 11, a noticeably uneven split. The balance seemed heavily tipped toward the members YG was pushing hardest, adding more fuel to the already sizzling discourse. Some fans couldn't help but notice that as Ahyeon was constantly praised, other members seemed to fade into the background. Posts sarcastically titled "Ahyeon and Friends" began to pop up. Some were furious, claiming that other talented members were being ignored just so YG could manufacture a star. "She's the face of the group," one fan ranted, "but they're acting like she's the only member that matters." Of course, there's another side to that coin. On platforms like Reddit, fans passionately defended Ahyeon. "Her talent speaks for itself," one argued. "She's freaking talented." Another commenter wrote, "She's got vocals, stage presence, charisma, all while still being a teenager. Of course, she stands out." So while YG's camera continues to find her, not everyone is complaining. This double-edged sword of attention has stirred the pot within the fandom. Some worship her as Baby Monster's undeniable ace, treating every nod from Young Hyunsuk as a major event and every little Jennie comparison as a badge of honor. Ahyeon handles it like a pro, telling reporters she's honored but determined to carve her own path. Still, the shadow of that comparison never fully fades. Meanwhile, the anti-Ahyeon camp grows louder, accusing YG of recycling their classic It Girl narrative and leaving the rest of the group to pick up the scraps. On forums, debates rage. Did Ahyeon save the group's debut, or was the group simply built to revolve around her from the start? Yet, through all the chaos, one thing remains constant. When Ahyeon steps on stage, the crowd loses its mind. Her fans say YG made the right call. Her critics say she's overhyped, but either way, all eyes are locked on her. This pattern of a company playing favorites, whether real or perceived, is hardly unique to YG. Across the industry, similar dramas unfold, often pitting a company's biggest stars against its rising rookies, as seen in the complex ecosystem of HYBE. Other companies like HYBE show just how differently they can treat their biggest stars compared to their newer groups. On August 27th, a video of TXT getting mobbed at an airport prompted fans to trend #Protect TXT on Twitter, demanding better security. It also raised serious questions about their treatment. Why couldn't HYBE, with its immense wealth and resources, provide adequate safety for a group as popular as TXT? Considering that their seniors, BTS, reportedly have a security detail of 150 to 200 personnel, what was stopping HYBE from assigning a few bodyguards to prevent such dangerous situations? This wasn't an isolated incident. The story of BTS is the textbook definition of a rags to riches tale. They went from making music in a cramped studio to becoming the biggest group in the world, selling out stadiums. Looking at them now, it's easy to forget the early days when the company, then Big Hit Entertainment, mistreated its members. Armies particularly remember how former staff members would harshly comment on the boys' weight. One manager was so severe that he was caught on camera threatening to hit Jungkook. He was promptly fired after Big Hit released a statement promising to monitor staff behavior. While things have undoubtedly improved with their meteoric rise, and armies would likely riot outside HYBE's headquarters if anything happened to them now, the company is far from perfect. Complaints about unfair line distribution, particularly for Jin, and concerns about the members being overworked have persisted for years. TXT's situation is different, and that's where the core issue lies. When BTS debuted in 2013, Big Hit was a small, struggling company. In contrast, TXT debuted at the peak of BTS's global success, but this didn't necessarily make things easier. The word privilege was thrown around constantly, with critics attributing every milestone and award to their association with BTS, as if they hadn't worked just as hard as any other artist to debut. This robbed them of their own identity, as HYBE constantly marketed them as BTS's little brothers, a strange tactic not seen with other groups like BLACKPINK, who were never officially called 2NE1's little sisters. This label was both a blessing and a curse. It was a blessing because BTS's reputation drew in countless fans who might not have otherwise checked them out. It was a curse because they were immediately expected to live up to BTS's monumental success, adding immense pressure. TXT was barely a year into their career when the comparisons began. Yeonjun admitted, "It would be a lie to say we didn't feel pressured, but we used that as motivation to do better." Despite his positive attitude, the public remained divided. Some were angry at TXT for their instant fame, while others were mad at HYBE for using BTS's name so heavily in their promotions. The second complaint was valid, but the first ignored a common K-pop trend. The new JYP girl group sold out the limited version of their album before anyone even knew the members' names. So why the specific anger towards TXT? Furthermore, Big Hit's promise to monitor its staff's behavior seemed to be just empty words. The issue of staff crossing boundaries didn't end with BTS. TXT has also had long-standing problems with their treatment. Staff members have been caught trying to film them in secret, and one manager even made Yeonjun hold an umbrella for him, a stark reversal of the typical industry dynamic. But the most pressing issue remains their safety. There have been numerous instances of TXT being swarmed by Sasaeng fans or paparazzi, with staff doing little to intervene. The situation reached a boiling point when the members were mobbed in a parking lot during the pandemic. A video of Soobin hitting his head as a manager rushed them into a van in raged MOAs. Fans trended #protect TXT with one popular tweet reading, "In a world that's becoming increasingly more dangerous for idols, please put more effort into protecting your artist." The irony is staggering. HYBE is growing into an unimaginably massive company, yet these fundamental problems persist. It's not a lack of money or resources. The hypocrisy became even more glaring when Sakura arrived in South Korea on August 27 to join a new HYBE girl group. She was escorted through the airport by BTS's security team. Just 2 days later, TXT was mobbed at the same airport. How are they providing better security for an artist they haven't even signed yet? One Twitter user asked. If they can hire BTS's security team for Sakura, then they can do the same or even better for TXT. However, in other aspects, HYBE has seemingly treated TXT well. They haven't been forced into the extreme diets common in K-pop. Their seniors like Jin endured dangerous eating habits that led to malnutrition. Jin revealed he survived on 2 packs of chicken breast a day for a year. Jimin also admitted to fainting from unhealthy dieting. Thankfully, HYBE has improved. While TXT has dieted, it has been of their own volition. Soobin confirmed in a live stream that the agency doesn't force anything, telling them, "Eat as much as you want, but be responsible for your own weight." They've also been given significant creative freedom, a rarity in the industry. Like BTS, the members of TXT have been involved in writing, composing and producing their own music since their debut, which is a refreshing and commendable practice. While HYBE grapples with the legacy of its flagship group, other agencies face favoritism accusations centered on members who gained fame before their group's debut, as seen with Starship Entertainment's handling of IVE. Discussions about Starship treating Wonyoung differently from the other IVE members have been ongoing since the group's debut. From outfits and accessories to solo endorsements, Wonyoung often appears to overshadow her bandmates. But is she truly favored, or are netizens overreacting? The controversy began with something as simple as outfits. After their debut, IVE performed their hit song 11 at year-end award shows. During their performance at KBS Gayo de Chukje, viewers noticed Wonyoung was dressed in white while the other members wore black, blending in with the backup dancers. This pattern continued, making Wonyoung a target of criticism even though she had no control over her wardrobe. Netizens complained about her having more accessories, better makeup or nicer hairstyles, always finding something to pick on. To be fair, ever since Wonyoung and Hee-jin, both former members of the wildly popular survival show group IZ*ONE, were announced as IVE members, it was expected they would be promoted more heavily. They already had an established fan base, making it easier to draw attention to the new group. This is a common strategy, but seeing it in practice angered many. People felt the performances looked like Wonyoung's solo stage. A netizen commented, "This is horrible. Do they mean there's only one singer and the rest are all backup dancers?" Every 11 performance was scrutinized for any difference in Wonyoung's attire. In response, one netizen created a post to debunk the claims, showing that while Wonyoung did wear standout outfits once or twice, so did the other members. This opened the eyes of some, with one commenter noting, "The other members have worn something outstanding too." Another argued that Wonyoung would stand out regardless due to her fame and position as the group's center. The double standard became obvious when Lee Seo wore an all-white, fluffy skirt, or when Ray and Gayul wore more vibrant outfits, and no one accused them of being favored. The criticism seemed to apply only to Wonyoung. It's understandable for fans to worry about fairness, but blaming Wonyoung for decisions made by the company is illogical. Concerns also arose over solo promotions. Some believed Wonyoung's solo appearances on shows like Knowing Bros and Radio Star were proof of preferential treatment. However, Knowing Bros invites guests independently, and it's rare for a rookie group from outside the big three companies to be invited at all. Furthermore, Wonyoung and Hee-jin used their appearances to promote IVE, even bringing the other members on to perform 11 together. It was a smart business decision. An IZ*ONE fan unfamiliar with IVE would be more likely to watch a show featuring Wonyoung and Hee-jin, giving the entire group exposure. It's ironic that most of the complaints came from people who weren't even fans of the group, suggesting they were either looking for reasons to dislike Wonyoung or trying to tarnish the group's reputation. Then there are the commercial films CFs. Wonyoung undeniably has more brand partnerships than her groupmates, but that's because she's one of the most popular female idols of her generation. Brands naturally want her as their spokesperson. Many of these endorsements were secured before she even joined IVE, making claims of favoritism within the group irrelevant. In 11, she didn't even have the most lines, and her screen time was a result of her being the center. In their comeback Love Dive, the line and screen time distribution was much more even, allowing members like Liseo, Liz and Ray to have their own viral moments. Starship seems to be playing their cards well, positioning IVE to compete with the top groups. Pushing Wonyoung and Hee-jin exclusively would have been detrimental, but the company is already showing a commitment to treating all members more equally. For now, the supposed favoritism seems to be more of a strategic launchpad for the group's overall success. When it comes to HYBE's girl groups, the gap in treatment becomes even more obvious, particularly in the saga involving NewJeans, SSERAFIM and ILLIT. According to Other's CEO Min Hee-jin, the favoritism towards SSERAFIM began before either group debuted. During her now infamous press conference, Min revealed she was promised her group would be the first to debut under HYBE. However, that promise was broken when she was told another group would debut first, as former IZ*ONE members Sakura and Chaewon were joining the company. Min felt betrayed, having recruited the NewJeans members with the guarantee of being HYBE's first girl group. This was later confirmed by a NewJeans member's mother, who stated the delay and lack of communication from Source Music left the trainees feeling devastated, with one even considering giving up her dream. Not only that, but Min Hee-jin also claimed HYBE forbade her from promoting NewJeans until after SSERAFIM's debut because they wanted to create the illusion that she was involved with SSERAFIM's launch. They intentionally wanted to confuse people, she stated. Min said her actions were a response to HYBE consistently sidelining NewJeans and mistreating her despite her role in their success. She also claimed her relationship with HYBE's chairman Bang Si-hyuk soured after SSERAFIM's debut. According to her, HYBE offered no help when NewJeans debuted. She had to personally secure their first public appearance at a Chanel event. In contrast, ILLIT appeared at Paris Fashion Week before they even debuted and quickly became faces for Acne Studios. HYBE also allegedly threatened to cancel a NewJeans deal with Apple over a disagreement with Min. Leaked texts revealed HYBE tried to replace NewJeans with another artist for an Apple event, but Apple specifically requested NewJeans. Netizens also pointed to SSERAFIM's documentary where the NewJeans members appeared, but their faces were never shown, only the backs of their heads. While some defended it as a SSERAFIM-centric documentary, others saw it as a deliberate attempt by HYBE to undermine the group and make them seem unimportant. The perceived neglect extends to Bang Si-hyuk himself, who has been openly supportive of SSERAFIM. He chose their group name, produced their debut, is actively involved in their music, and is even in a group chat with the members who send him weekly updates. He famously welcomed Sakura and Chaewon with a photo and was seen visiting SSERAFIM's pop-up store to buy merchandise. In contrast, he has never taken a picture with NewJeans, nor did he congratulate them on their debut. When their song Ditto hit the Billboard Hot 100, he reportedly sent Min a sarcastic message. "Are you happy? Why are you laughing? I'm really curious." It suggested he was not pleased with their success, even though they were a group under his own company. The most damning revelation came from an email sent to HYBE by the NewJeans members' parents. They complained that Bang Si-hyuk had repeatedly ignored the members' greetings in the company building. What they initially dismissed as him not recognizing them became a clear pattern of deliberate avoidance. Even if you don't recognize the NewJeans members, it's just basic manners to accept someone's greetings, the parents wrote, explaining how the middle and high school-aged girls felt embarrassed and awkward. "Imagine being a billionaire 50 years old or something and still feeling threatened by high schoolers," one netizen commented. Finally, there's the issue of breaks between releases. SSERAFIM has had relatively short breaks, while NewJeans is facing a rumored hiatus of a year and a half after their recent comeback. Shelving a group at the peak of their career is a dangerous move that could destroy their momentum. Amid the messy legal battle between ADOR and HYBE, the NewJeans members have become victims. HYBE has been accused of using shady media play such as planting false stories about Min Hee-jin, criticizing other groups like BTS to turn their fandoms against her and NewJeans. They also circulated a story about Hee-jin shading ILLIT on social media, which turned out to be an out-of-context inside joke. For a company that vowed to protect its artists, HYBE's actions seem to have done a lot to potentially harm the members' reputations. While internal power struggles can create rifts, sometimes the perceived mistreatment is more subtle, manifesting in the slow, consistent sidelining firing of a single member, as fans of aespa's Giselle have painstakingly documented. aespa's fans are demanding better treatment for Giselle from SM Entertainment, collecting evidence of her being discriminated against compared to her groupmates. The issue isn't new. Since their debut, Giselle has often been the member left aside by the company. This was compounded by a scandal in October 2021, which made her a target for negativity. But fans argue that a past mistake shouldn't justify ongoing poor treatment. Multiple brands endorsing aespa have been caught blatantly leaving Giselle out of their ads. In a promotion for the game Eternal Return, she had only 1 second of screen time. The makeup brand Clio uploaded pictures of the other 3 members but posted nothing of Giselle. The skincare brand BABYMONSTER featured the other members holding their products, while Giselle was only shown against a plain white background without the product. In a 30-second ad for the clothing brand Either, she had no screen time at all. The luxury brand Chopard also gave her only 1 second in a 30-second spot. The fashion brand MLB Korea received backlash not once but twice. They failed to include Giselle in their online styling guide, and to add insult to injury, misspelled her name as Giselle on their official website. Fans have trended hashtags like #treat Giselle fairly and Giselle deserves better, criticizing not only the brands but also SM for failing to protect her. The mistreatment extends to official merchandise as well. The SM Town Store's Instagram account once posted information for a card pack that excluded Giselle entirely. The post was deleted and replaced, but the damage was done. Fans were even more frustrated to learn that Giselle had to personally ask SM to upload her Spotify playlist to the group's official profile after it had been left out. The neglect has even affected her performances. During an SM Town live concert, Giselle performed the song Zoo with several NCT members. Her in-ear monitor stopped working, leaving her unable to hear anything but her own voice feedback. She powered through professionally, but the issue happened again at a concert in Japan, where she also lost her mic pack. Fans traced the problem to her impractical outfit, a very short skirt that couldn't properly secure the equipment. To make matters worse, a lift malfunctioned during the same performance, causing her and NCT's Henry to be late for the chorus. These technical difficulties seem to exclusively plague the Zoo unit, and specifically Giselle. Despite her professionalism, Giselle has become a target for intense online hate, with comments attacking her looks, weight and talent. Haters have even edited clips of her rehearsals to make it seem like she's a poor performer. The constant mistreatment from brands, her own label, and the public must be a heavy burden for her to handle. Fans can only hope that SM Entertainment will finally take action to protect their artist. For some idols, favoritism and internal issues become so unbearable that leaving the company is the only option, as was the case with BLACKPINK's Lisa. After lengthy discussions, Lisa chose not to renew her individual contract with YG Entertainment, a decision that surprised no one. Given YG's history of how they treated her, it was an understandable move. It's rumored she had the least profitable contract of all the members, despite being arguably the most popular. The pay disparity for foreign idols is a known issue in the industry. CLC's Sorn, who is also from Thailand, revealed that due to complicated international royalty laws, she and her Hong Kong bandmate Elki initially received 6 times less than their Korean members. While this issue was eventually resolved for Thai idols, YG's track record has led fans to believe Lisa's contract was unfair in other ways. One of the biggest grievances was the handling of her solo debut. Lisa's single album La Lisa broke records in 2021, yet her promotions were shockingly minimal. A few fan signs, limited interviews and pre-recorded stages. She didn't appear on music shows until 9 days after her release and only performed 3 times in Korea. This was a stark contrast to Rosé's solo debut, which was heavily promoted with weekly music show appearances and multiple wins. Furthermore, YG failed to properly register all of Lisa's album sales, significantly impacting her official numbers. The entire release felt rushed. While Rosé's album had a 2-month rollout, Lisa's was announced just half a month in advance. Her individual activities were also severely restricted. As a brand ambassador for Celine and Bulgari, she was expected to attend major fashion events. However, she was famously barred by YG from attending a Bulgari event in Paris, with the company citing COVID-19 concerns. This excuse fell flat as other members attended events in the same city around the same time. The CEO of Bulgari was so upset he publicly expressed his disappointment. Lisa also missed the Met Gala, and multiple fashion magazines have criticized YG for being difficult to work with and making unreasonable demands. Her work on the Chinese show Youth with You was plagued by YG's poor communication, and she was reportedly not allowed to visit her home in Thailand for 3 years, even when her grandfather passed away. It's clear that Lisa's decision to leave was about seeking better management and the freedom to pursue the countless opportunities that came her way. Rumors swirled of an overseas company offering her over 81 million to leave YG, a deal that likely included creative control and ownership of her work, things YG was unwilling to provide. Now with her own agency, Leila UD, she has total control over her career, and the world is watching to see what she does next. But Lisa isn't the only member whose experience has been misunderstood. Jisoo's situation highlights the unseen challenges within YG. Despite being Blackpink's official lead vocalist and visual, Jisoo has often been cast in the shadows. Fans have long pointed out the disparity in line distribution. In almost all of the group's songs, Jisoo has the fewest lines, a baffling reality for a lead vocalist. The same is true for her screen time in music videos where she consistently places last. This has led many to question the point of official positions if they aren't respected. The situation became so egregious during the How You Like That promotions that YG forgot to post her teaser poster on Instagram until fans caused an uproar, leading to the hashtag #JisooDeservesBetter. Despite being underappreciated by her own company, Jisoo has thrived outside of it. Her partnership with Dior has been a massive success, with her becoming a global ambassador for the luxury brand. Her presence at Paris Fashion Week caused a media frenzy, and a viral clip captured Dior CEO Pietro Beccari telling a staff member, "If YG fires her, message me, I'll take her." The comment perfectly encapsulated the frustration fans felt. If the head of a major fashion house could see her immense value, why couldn't her own agency? Thankfully, Jisoo has now established her own label, Blissoo, giving her the platform to finally shine on her own terms. For longtime followers of YG, these patterns of mistreatment feel depressingly familiar, echoing the tragic downfall of their predecessors, 2NE1. Considered one of the most iconic girl groups of their time, 2NE1's career was derailed by a series of unfortunate events and poor management. After member Park Bom was embroiled in a drug scandal in 2014, the group was put on an indefinite hiatus. During this time, the youngest member, Minzy, repeatedly asked for a solo album, but YG kept delaying it. Frustrated, she left the group in 2016. Just 7 months later, YG announced 2NE1's official disbandment, a fact that the remaining members CL, Dara and Bomb found out through the media. The mistreatment was not just professional but also deeply personal. YG's former CEO Yang Hyun-suk repeatedly called the members ugly, a cruel comment that CL confirmed he once made in front of all their staff during a concert rehearsal. This took a heavy toll on the members' self-esteem. It was also revealed that many of Blackpink's hit songs, including As If It's Your Last and even their catchphrase Blackpink in Your Area, were originally intended for 2NE1. 2NE1 was belittled and discarded, while Blackpink was created to be their replacement, a difficult legacy for both groups to carry. These dynamics aren't limited to the big four agencies. Survival shows designed to manufacture hype often create their own unique hierarchies and targets for fan outrage and company neglect. KATSEYE's popularity has been on the rise, but one member, Manon, seems to be quietly pushed aside. The issue began with the Netflix documentary Pop Star Academy, KATSEYE, which fans believe deliberately edited her to appear lazy and unmotivated. This negative portrayal has followed her ever since, fueling hate whenever she is absent from group schedules for health reasons. During performances of their debut song, Debut, Manon is almost always positioned at the back, hidden behind other members. She also had the fewest lines on their first mini-album. The exclusion has continued with recent collaborations. In a partnership with Monster High, each member received a custom doll. A TikTok video showed the members receiving their dolls, but while Manon was on the thumbnail, she barely appeared in the video and was cut out of conversations. Her solo photo was also missing from a HYBE interview because the company allegedly never sent it. This pattern of exclusion has led major fan accounts to go on strike, boycotting content until the company addresses the issue and protects Manon from defamation. Similarly, Kpop winner's Huening Bahiyyih has endured unfair treatment since her time on the survival show Girls Planet 999. As the sister of TXT's Huening Kai, she was immediately targeted by viewers who claimed she only advanced due to her brother's fame. The show Manette did little to help, giving her minimal screen time while simultaneously using her brother for views. Despite her fan cams being among the most watched, she was rarely praised by the judges and her improvements were often ignored. When she placed second in the final lineup, the hate intensified. Yet, despite her high rank and strong fan base, she received less than 10 seconds of lines in Kpop's debut song Wada Da. The mistreatment has continued, with fans constantly demanding she be given more opportunities to showcase her talents. The stories of Manon and Bahiyyih reveal how the very systems designed to create stars can also systematically sideline them, leaving them to fight for the spotlight they have rightfully earned. Behind the glamour of K-pop, there is often a darker reality of mistreatment, and it is a conversation that must continue.